And we're going to move straight over to Sarina, who is, I'm so excited as well, because I knew you guys were going to put on a great session for us, but the fear of public speaking is probably more feared than death in some cases, I think, I've heard. But personally, I'd rather public speak than die, but there you go. So we're going to hand over to Sarina, who is going to, we met Sarina through the Hangout. She's launching a brand new business, and this is going to be amazing because I've seen some of her work already. So Sarina, over to you. Oh, you're on mute again, Sarina.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. Oh, actually, I can just see this big screen of myself. Is there some way of changing that? Oh, yeah, okay, no, okay, I'll just put it on gallery view.
I think if you press the button at the bottom, you'll...
Oh, right, yeah, okay, so good morning, everyone. Today, my speech is entitled, How to Overcome Your Fear of Public Speaking Online so that you can speak with confidence, authority, and impact. Is that for real? No, it isn't. I've just given you a live demonstration of some common mistakes we can make when we speak to an audience online. Maybe you've done it yourself. I know that I have. It's really common that people launch into their speech without unmuting themselves. I've forgotten it so many times myself. But what I figured, it's a bit like walking out onto a stage and the audience having to tell you, speak into the microphone. The microphone. Right. It's a bit of fun. It's a strange way to start a speech. Or we can think that maybe it's okay to read from a script. At the end of the day, our eyes are kind of looking in the same direction. So no one will know if I'm reading out the speech, but you know this yourselves, don't you? It's really obvious if someone's reading or if they're communicating to you. Okay. The other thing that really throws people is, of course, having a video of themselves showing back. Has that freaked out any of you before?
So my hair's not in the right place.
Yeah, that's right.
I have that problem too.
Yeah. It can be really, really off-putting. So there are a few things that I like to talk about today. I decided I wasn't going to talk about a fear of public speaking in general, because you're all speakers and trainers. So thumbs up if you've overcome your fear of public speaking, more or less. Okay, so most of you.
Some.
What I'm going to speak about is overcoming the fear of speaking on online platforms like this, because it seems that for now, the online forum is here to stay. So maybe you've been in this position where you've had to deliver a talk online or a meeting or do a video of yourself, and it's made you feel really nervous. Okay, so this is the kind of area I'm going to speak about today. In fact, I've created 5 steps to help you overcome your fear of speaking online. So first of all, do you feel that you're more nervous when you're speaking online or in front of a live audience? Just type in the chat box. Do you feel a sense of nervousness when you're speaking online or having to do a video of yourself?
I think.
Okay, on live, a live audience, both. Okay, so there's a mix. I believe that it's really important to just be aware of the fears that you have when speaking online, okay? Because there are a different set of fears that pop up that it's really great just to be aware of, okay? So I'm going to start with my first step. The first step in overcoming your fear of speaking online is identifying the fears. So being aware, what am I actually afraid of? What's going on for me? Okay, so who might talk about fear anyway? Well, I'll tell you. Am I an expert? Well, no. Do I have a degree? No, not in psychology or anything like this. But yes, I've had an anxiety disorder. So yeah, I think that makes me pretty much an expert. So I'm going to tell you a story of me at the height of my anxiety disorder. Out with some friends, having a nice time. I was laughing, they were laughing, we were all laughing. Then all of a sudden, I get a memory. Just one small memory. And quite quickly, I go into a full-blown panic attack. For me, a panic attack means going into full-blown hyperventilation. and then ending up in a collapsed heap on the floor. It's not the kind of look you want when you're out with your mates having a great time. So where am I now? Well, I can safely say I no longer experience panic attacks, and I've used these 5 steps I'm about to share with you to overcome a number of different anxieties, including my fear of public speaking, either in front of a live audience or online. So can you tell me what, in terms of your own experience of speaking online, what puts you off about delivering either training or speeches online? Is there anything, or do you just feel, no, this is absolutely fine, there's nothing really that worries me about it? What are some particular, okay, so, okay, one person is actually saying the internet has crashed. I'd like to say that this could be a source of fear and anxiety for online speaking. Anything else there?
I think technology is my fear with it. But also, if you talk in general, is sometimes it's that moment where you get something really badly wrong, or you say the wrong thing and the audience takes it the wrong way. Not that I'm controversial or anything like that, but sometimes the wrong thing can come out, or it just doesn't work. You don't get the response that you're looking for.
Yeah, when you're used to working with live audiences, you can sort of gauge the reactions. It's harder online to see that, and I think that's the thing that's scary.
Yep, excellent. So the audience size as well, too many people that might judge you, harder to create the environment you want, especially when participants have their cameras off, indeed. And okay, just as I said that, then a couple of people lost internet connection and got logged off. I think that was quite, quite good timing there. So I'd like to actually talk about 3 particular fears that we can have in online speaking. Some of you have mentioned them already. So the first one is the fact that, Jules, you mentioned not having an audience that you can see. And I think for many people, this is really off-putting. So normally when you walk into a room, you know who's there. You can gauge the audience, you can gauge the environment, the atmosphere. And as you start speaking, you look into their eyes, they look at you, they're listening with enthusiasm and so on. And as you speak, you start to feel more confident because you think, I can do this, I can do it. And every word that you speak, then you start to feel more confident. Online then, we're just staring into a tiny little black hole at the top of our laptop, knowing that there could be potentially hundreds of people out there. I mean, that's enough to scare anyone. So I think it is a thing to be aware of, that it's not a normal kind of thing, that it's perfectly reasonable to feel anxious about doing that. And therefore it takes some familiarity and practice just to be okay with that kind of scenario. Now, of course, you could just look at everyone, but it doesn't look the same if you're sort of looking down and then people are just seeing the top of your head. So ideally, you want to be looking into the camera, which I think is much more frightening than looking out into an audience, but everyone will be different. Some people will find that better. So then the second thing, and I think someone's mentioned this here, is, and this actually happened as I was speaking, which is the internet connection, right? So I think this is an additional stress. At least if you can physically be there, you're just going to be there. Whereas with your internet connection, anything can happen. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a story of when I attended a 1-hour workshop. This was quite recently. I lost my internet connection for about 2 seconds. Do you know which 2 seconds I lost my internet connection in during this 1-hour workshop? Any guesses?
The first 2.
No.
The last 2
seconds that I was speaking.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was a 1-hour workshop by a lady who was giving a talk that I attended. And she said, are there any questions? I put up my hand, just as she said, Sarina, what would you like to ask? Gone. Right, what are the chances of that? Okay, but we all know it happens. So it's something that we have to kind of work with and be okay with, in one sense, that certain things will go wrong. If you're not a techie person, then it can be even more stressful. So it's about learning, what do I need to learn about the tech stuff to feel more confident, but also that, yes, sometimes you just can't help certain things. Sometimes you'll just lose your internet. The other thing and the third area that I'm going to talk about is the fear of being recorded. Okay, so like this is a talk that's recorded that people can actually, look back at what you said, exactly what you said, every word, every that you said, every mistake that you made. You know, and I think that's necessarily a cause for anxiety. So I'm going to ask you a question. When you're doing a video, you know, how many people take several takes of their video before they send it off to the world?
Yeah.
Okay, so quite a few nods there. Okay, I know that that's what I do as well. You know, because every little error, I think, oh no, I have to do it again. Oh no, let's do it again. So this can be a huge area of fear and anxiety that you never have to face normally if you're just delivering a talk to a live audience. So I would say that it's an important process to note down the types of different fears that arise for you when you speak online, and then try to oppose those fears either with logic, acceptance, for instance, like, okay, I might just lose my Wi-Fi connection at some point. That's not something you can't control. Or else learning more skills. For instance, if it's to do with technology, learn a few more skills that you need to feel more confident with technology. So then you can reduce the fears associated with technology. Okay. So the second step I'd like to talk about is basically overcoming your limiting beliefs. So this is a huge area for public speaking of any kind, but in particular, I feel it's important for when we deliver online. One of the reasons is that if we don't overcome many of our limiting beliefs, I think we can try to sort of sweep under the carpet. Has anyone tried to do this? I know I have. You know, I don't need to face that one yet, surely no. But at some point it gets me. And video, for instance, is one area that it will get you. Okay, so I got a story about this, because basically if you're not happy with seeing your video, it's going to be really off-putting. If you're seeing your video back at you, or if you have to do a recording and send it to someone, or you're going to do a YouTube video, if you can't bear the sight of you, that's going to be tricky. Okay, so I've got a story about this. When I first joined Toastmasters, my third speech that I ever did, I asked a friend to record. I said, do you mind recording the speech so I can, watch it when I get home? I said, yeah, sure. So I gave the speech, and, I got home. I thought, oh, yeah, watch my speech, shall I? So I got my phone, there was watching it, and I was like, what? They never told me I looked crazy, I sound weird, and I am weird. I honestly had a complete freak out. No, these Toastmasters, they're not even being honest with me. They said I did a good job, and I clearly didn't. Okay, so what I had to do is actually watch the video again and again and again until I kind of grew on myself, like, oh, okay, you're not so bad. And I actually recommend this thing. I teach kids as little as 13 years old to be confident speakers. Okay, and this is the technique that I teach them. It sounds so mean, doesn't it? At 13 years old to watch a video of yourself. But that's what I do. And it really, really works. The more you see it, and the more you have a wish to just be able to evaluate yourself as a speaker, then you'll soon just be at peace with it. You'll think, okay, this is fine. Because how many people are just totally okay with seeing a video of themselves?
Getting there now. Definitely.
We're getting there.
So one person is absolutely okay, or two. Yeah, great. And you're Mark and Jules getting there. Yeah. So would you say it's a process?
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I think that's what I've found, and I've talked to even experienced speakers who are fearful of being on video. And there are so many things that we can do to trying to disguise our anxiety. I know when I first started doing videos, I used to speak in a very monotone voice with a blank expression and say, in this video, I'm going to be talking about this. But then it sounds so boring, obviously. And that's something that we can do if we feel very, very anxious about getting it right, or else you're doing many, many takes. So that limiting belief can really undermine your ability just to make a great video of yourself. And the great thing is that the more familiar you are with just seeing your video, the more you'll just be able to watch it objectively and just say, oh, well, these were the strengths and these were the weaknesses. But another good idea is to show it to someone with some experience who can also give you an evaluation. So if your inner critic attacks you, then you can just show it to someone who has some experience in speaking or making videos, and they can give you some honest feedback as well. That helps. Okay, so step number 2 is basically overcoming your limiting beliefs, in particular with regard to seeing yourself and hearing your voice. Does anyone have a freak out when they hear their own voice?
Yes, absolutely.
It's strange. I just don't think it's unusual. Everyone I've ever met has said they either can't bear the sound of their own voice coming back, either on a podcast or a video, or as soon as they see their face in a video, they're like, no, that's not me, surely. And I just think it's so common. So I think it's about seeing that everyone feels it about their own face and their own voice. So therefore, actually, I can drop that in that case. You know, it's all right. And then we can just be at peace with ourselves. So I think this is a really, really helpful step. Okay, you ready for the third step?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Third step is to learn the techniques of speaking with impact online. Okay. So in any type of public speaking, it's really important to learn the techniques, right? It's like you wouldn't ask someone who doesn't know how to drive you to the airport, right? Would that be a crazy idea? That would be scary. It would be dangerous. You just wouldn't do it. Or someone who doesn't know how to swim, would you just push them into that pool? We've all talked about fear of water. No, no. No, we wouldn't do it. Okay. So likewise, why do we expect ourselves and other people just to go out there and speak? Just do it. Speak, give a presentation without first learning the techniques. That's another huge source of fear and anxiety, to ask yourself or someone else to do something they do not know how to do. So then we can learn the techniques. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what are some techniques we learn? For instance, you're all speakers and trainers. So if you're speaking in an environment that's an offline environment, what are some of the techniques that you need to put into practice when you're speaking in front of others? Name some techniques.
Posture.
Mm-hmm.
Voice projection.
Yep.
Eye contact.
Yep.
Body language. Sorry, I'm hogging. Carry on.
No, this is good. Yeah, there are so many. Anyone else?
Talking with clarity, so being able to deliver something in a succinct way without perhaps going on for too long.
Absolutely, that's a really great point too. Yeah. Okay, and
Energy.
what about? Yep. Sorry.
Energy.
Energy. Yes.
Yeah, especially on here. Got to try and keep people awake.
Indeed, that's a really good point. Thanks for that, John. Because online, then people are in their own homes. They could be, turning off their cameras. Someone mentioned that before, isn't it?
Yeah.
They turn off their cameras. You don't know if they're snoozing or doing something else entirely. So now more than ever, it's so important to grab the audience attentions. I would say more than in an offline environment. So what about online? So can you tell me some techniques that you might have to think about for your online presentations?
As John already alluded, your energy level has to be 130%. It has to be more, because you're losing the energy that you would in a real live audience.
Good point. Yep. Anything else?
Well, it's about engagement, isn't it? I think that when I first started learning about Adobe Connect, I was told to do something to engage every 8 seconds. I think I've done quite a lot of reading since, and my experience is about 2 or 3. So whether we're speaking, whether we're showing a PowerPoint, or whether we're doing a poll or a breakout room, it's keep it moving.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Correct.
Right. Okay, because what I'd like to talk about is just one in particular. Let's just talk about body language, let's say, in an online environment, because there are so many different techniques, like, yes, breakout rooms or whatever you like to use. Absolutely, keeping people engaged. One technique, one aspect then is body language. I'm just going to briefly mention this. So with this is your stage, isn't it? This little box, this tiny little box. So it's thinking about how you want to use this little box. If you're speaking in front of a live audience, then of course you'd use the stage, and people might say, move around, use the stage, own the space. But here, then we've just got this tiny little box that we own, isn't it? So it's about thinking about how you want to use it. Today you decide to use a plain white wall, but sometimes you can use your green screen or whatever it is to use your space. And then your hand gestures, of course. You're bringing in your gestures at a higher level. I mean, when I speak to people, I don't normally have my hands up here. That would be crazy, right? But if you're having your hands down here when you do a speech, then it looks a bit strange. So then you can think about bringing those gestures higher. And then what about the fact that people don't see most of your body? just a tiny little bit of you, isn't it?
That's a good thing.
Sorry.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, indeed. Well, I would say the big difference now is that your face matters more than ever. Would you say, would you agree with that? Yeah. Okay, so your facial expression. So often I think we can see, and I know, as I said, I did this myself at the beginning, where you just use a really sort of blank facial expression, and you kind of speak in monotone, and you have a blank expression, maybe because you want to appear professional or calm, this kind of thing. And it can be really hard to get out of that. I spent, Tony will know this, because I spent ages doing videos with this facial expression. I could not get out of it. It took a little while to really pull myself out of that. And it's much more engaging if you can try to use your facial expressions. I mean, you don't need to use crazy expressions like I do. You can use a simple smile at the beginning or end of your speech, or just occasionally throw in a few expressions. Okay, so that's just thinking a bit about the techniques that you could use, and this will help you to feel much more confident about speaking online, because you'll know, hey, I know how to do this, so therefore, because I feel competent in it, I'm going to feel confident. That will make a huge difference to those anxiety levels. So then step number 4 is practice. Okay, we all know that one, don't we? Because we all know if we're going to keep our training or a speech, we have to practice first. It would be crazy not to do that, right? So can you tell me, what are some good ways, do you think, to practice for before an online presentation?
We've done a few where we've like practiced from room to room.
Okay.
Like I've sat in the dining room, Jules has sat in here, and we did it with a quiz, didn't we?
We did,
trying to host a quiz, and we were trying to work out how it would appear for the person who's at the other end of the, who's actually doing the quiz, taking part in it.
Nice, yeah.
So yeah, just like a live demo, really, I think.
Brilliant, yes.
I've done that many times. Just use Zoom itself. Even if you haven't got anyone else to do it, you can start your own one for yourself, and you record yourself as you're doing it, and then play it back and see, oh gosh, how did I come across? I need to work on that. Maybe I need to put more movement in, more facial expressions, as you said. So you can do all this prep up front, and it certainly helps.
Absolutely.
That's a really good idea, actually.
I love that technique. That is my favorite technique, actually, to have a meeting with myself. I go through a live rehearsal, record it, and watch it back. I think it's a fantastic technique. Once you get over the, oh no, that's me. Once you get over that, then just watch it and evaluate it. And it's so easy on Zoom. You can just record it, and it will be as you'll deliver live. Anything else people thought of?
Can I just add to that, Sarina, as well? Like a couple of years ago, I was applying for a piece of work, and part of the recruitment process was to send a brief recording, a video. So I set it all up and actually recorded it and felt quite happy with it until I played it back. I thought I was smiling, and I wasn't. I thought there was energy, and there wasn't. And it was just, I've kind of remembered that, and that stays with me. So like, as you say, kind of going into the Zoom, just seeing, your posture, how you're sitting, your energy, perhaps even what you're wearing, whether you feel comfortable, energized, record it. Because I think what you feel like you're creating can be something different. So just being able to kind of play it back, I found really helpful.
Thanks for sharing that. That's such a good point. It's essential, isn't it, just to see yourself back, because we think we look differently to what we are, because that's not normal. You don't normally see yourself. You don't normally hear your voice. So it really is an essential part, I believe, of practice. Thanks for sharing that. Is there anything else?
I think that's it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think actually.
But yeah, it is doing that and listening, and I think just trying to get rid of that inner critic, because I am the worst. I look at myself and I cringe every time. I really do. It's ridiculous.
Actually, no, I'm the worst.
I'm the worst.
No, it's me. The weird thing is, we will all think that we're the worst. We've got the most awful face. We've got the most awful voice. The wonderful thing is just talking to other people about it. It's the worst thing to do is to do like decide to, I don't know, launch a YouTube video of a channel in isolation where you don't check it with anyone or have these discussions. You just wouldn't have the confidence. I think it would be impossible. But having these discussions is amazing, because what you realize is that we all feel that about ourselves. But when you're saying that to me, but I'm looking at you thinking, but there's nothing wrong with the way you look or speak. You're wonderful the way you look and speak, right? But for other people, no one thinks there's anything wrong with us. But that's what we think, what you said, Jules, the inner critic. So what helped, one technique that really helped me, so I did use the Zoom, I play it back, but I also then a part of a group where I send my videos, because still my inner critic was taking over. So even though I can watch the videos now without sort of having a complete meltdown, so that's a step up. But still, I was thinking that was just appalling. I've done the video, but it was appalling. But then I think, okay, well, I'm just going to send it anyway. Just click send, and they could tell me it's appalling. But then they don't. They say, well, these were some strengths, these were some weaknesses. And then I realized that, so I'm thinking in a completely different way. So what we think about ourselves is totally different. So that's why when you practice, it's a great idea to practice, get familiarity, watch yourself, but then also get feedback from others. And we can do that so easily now because we've got the use of video. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think also, Sarina, in the environment that quite a lot of us work in, we should actually practice with other trainers live, because one of the areas of confidence or lack of confidence is around, when I do this exercise, will it work? So it's not so much how you portray yourself in your voice. I know it's all important body language, but it's confidence that the activities that you're going to run with the live audience is actually going to work when you do it. And so actually running it through in a group like this and actually testing it out, I think that's invaluable.
Yes, good point. I totally agree. And that's why I'm testing this out on you.
Oh, I see. It's like that, is it?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's essential, isn't it? And I feel so fortunate. Wow, that this is available. This is, totally amazing. There's no way I could do this, could do anything without first testing it and getting feedback. It's, for me, so essential. So practice is another area that will give us a huge amount of confidence. So the other way, when we learn to speak, learn to speak on an offline environment, one of the key ideas that people give you to practice is practicing in front of a mirror, which I think is actually a good stage before the video, because you can just see how you look. Sometimes you could have a habit like swaying or just using repetitive gestures, and then you can fix it in the moment. So that can also be a good way. I find that's a good step before the video. So you can just have a little plan of how do I want to practice? It could be doing it in front of a mirror, doing it in front of a video, doing the live training. So there's a process. And this, I believe, will all help to create more confidence when you speak online, or else when things get back to normal in an offline environment. So then the last step. Can anyone guess what the last step might be? What do you think? We've looked at these 4 different steps. This last step is an essential step. You can't have the whole thing without this last step. What do you think it could be?
Do it.
An audience?
Yeah.
So you guessed it already. Do it! Okay, you have to do it. So as I said, I've had an anxiety disorder in my life, and I've applied these 5 steps to so many different things, not only public speaking, lots of different fears that I've had. I've applied these 5 steps, and so often I've got to step 4 and I've thought, okay, in my head I'm okay with it. In my head I know, yep, I can do it. Or you could be this great speaker in your bedroom on your own in front of a mirror. But when it comes to talking in front of a live audience, then we can have a meltdown. Yeah. So it's so important. And there's nothing like actually doing it that will reduce the anxiety and boost the confidence. That's what I found in my own experience, that it's only when I do it that I actually get that big confidence boost. The other 4 steps are really, really essential, but don't stop there. So if you're running your own businesses as you are, then do something like a webinar or some training. I mean, you're doing it anyway, or just do something else, do something more to push yourself. If there's something that you're frightened about, it could just be, putting a video out there, something like this. So do it, and then you'll feel much more confident. Okay, so those are the 5 steps that have helped me with overcoming a range of different anxieties, including public speaking and speaking online. So I hope that will help you as well. Right. Bring this all to a close. I'd like to First of all, summarize the 5 steps. In fact, I'd like you to summarize the 5 steps. So what was step number 1?
Identify your fear.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Thank you. Step number 2.
Overcoming limiting beliefs.
Oh, one person was listening. Step number 3.
Go on.
Go on, Sarah, you were going to say?
Learn the techniques.
Brilliant. Step number 4.
Practice.
Thank you. Step number 5.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it. Do you think we can do it? Yes, we can do it. That's brilliant. Okay, so now I'd just like to end with a few thoughts, which are, these are challenging times. Would you agree these are challenging times?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Does anyone not feel challenged at all? Okay, these are challenging times. People are experiencing challenges they've never experienced before. People are experiencing challenges they feel ill-equipped to face. I would say now, more than ever, what people really need, more than a good hand sanitizer, more than roll, is you. I know that sounds cheesy. It's so cheesy, but it's true. They need you. Why? They need you to help motivate them. They need you to communicate your message with clarity. They need you to help solve a problem. And the great news is you can do that. You can speak with confidence, authority, and impact. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.